What is Samadhi? It is difficult even for me to explain what Samadhi is. I looked up the word Samadhi in a dictionary. It said, being concentrated on one particular thing and having no other thoughts. To devote oneself completely to doing something. The term must have originated in Buddhism, but these meanings do not sound like it, I thought. In truth, Samadhi or Samadhi is the state produced as a result of concentration. Then what is Samadhi? In short, it is the union of the subject and the object. The subject means you, yourself, and the object means another person or a thing you fix your attention to. The union means to become one with the object, to fuse into a person or a thing using concentration. For instance, you concentrate your mind on a tree and fix your gaze on it. If you can continue the concentration for 30 minutes, which means your practice has advanced to the level of Samadhi, you can fuse into the tree and become one with it. Moreover, by becoming one with it, you can know everything about the tree. This is Samadhi. If you concentrate on the mind of a person, you will be able to unite with it and know his or her thoughts and feelings. If you concentrate on a god, you will be able to unite with the god. There are two kinds of Samadhi, an external one and an internal one. The former is to unite with external objects, and the latter, with internal objects, such as one's chakras, mind, organs, and so on. The ultimate internal Samadhi is to unite with one's true self. When practicing Samadhi, it is best to start with the external method, as I did, for it is easier to concentrate on external objects. After mastering this, you can turn your concentration on internal objects. And if you practice further, you will be able to attain the next stage called omniscience. Now I am going to tell you the stories about the Samadhi I have experienced. They are related to the 6 yogas I mentioned earlier. The stage of Samadhi is very important. 5 yogas out of these 6 yogas are included in it. I discovered later that the Kagyu lineage of Tibetan Buddhism had the same view as mine. But in those days I was going through the process without realizing what these yogas were. The heat yoga, the inner fire. I concentrated on my Svadhisthana chakra. Then an intense heat was generated in my abdomen, which went up along my spine. I decided to practice this process repeats every day. What influenced my decision was the practice called meditation on the fire element, a practice known in esoteric Buddhism. This meditation is said to consume one's worldly passions, and I suspected that this practice and the process of heat might be the same. Both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems are located in the spine where the heat goes up. I thought, if some kind of mutation takes place due to the heat, I might be able to become a Superman. I practiced very hard, and though I did not become a Superman, some notable changes occurred. First, I began to feel warm all over my back and became able to tolerate any kind of cold. I could stay naked even in sub-zero temperatures. I also found myself limitless in energy. I decided to call this practice the Yoga of Heat. The Bardo Yoga, the experience of death. Next, I concentrated my mind on the Manipura chakra, which gave me the experience of Bardo, death. How will one feel at the moment of death? Or, what will happen to one after death? We all live with some vague answers of our own, which may not agree with real death experiences. For example, some might think, upon death, one will return to dust. Some might think, I will go to heaven. There may be unfortunate lovers who may vow, we shall be married in the next life. It is uneasy and fearful that we cannot know the truth unless we die. Furthermore, after we die, no matter how strongly we wish, we have no way of telling the people we have left, this is what it's really like after you die. It is an inconvenient fact when every living being had to die sooner or later. However, by concentrating on my Manipura chakra, through the practice of Bardo Yoga, I was able to experience the process of death and rebirth over and over again. Every one of you will be able to experience the same process when you have mastered the art of Samadhi. But for those of you who have just begun practice, let me share my experience here with you. Let me start from the moment of death. All your sense organs stop working just before you die. We sometimes watch a scene on TV in which a person says on his deathbed, "Please put on the light. It's dark in here," when the room is well lit. This is true in actual death. You first lose your hearing, and then you lose your sight. It is then followed by the loss of smell, taste, and touch. This may be surprising to you, but next, while you are still alive, what has made up your body begins to decompose and is reduced to the fundamental elements. The fundamental elements are the basic materials that compose this world, and they consist of 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and wind. First, your body is reduced to the earth element. When this happened to me, my body felt flabby or mushy. A somewhat strange feeling. What or who was feeling this sensation was not what had been me. It was another self. It was my soul that was feeling all this. You will also be seeing a mixture of black and yellow throughout this process. Secondly, the blood and the body fluids are reduced to the water element. Your nose runs, your body swells, and the blood stops flowing at this time. I saw flashes of light when the process was going on, which reminded me of the white moon reflected on the surface of the water. Thirdly, the body temperature is reduced to the fire element. You feel cold in your abdomen. The cold feeling then goes up your body, and as your whole body becomes cold, its motion becomes awkward as well. Perhaps a stiffening was taking place. It felt hard, just like iron. You see vermilion, bright red, while this process is underway. Finally, your breath is decomposed into the wind element. When this takes place, it becomes difficult to breathe. I want to breathe. I want to breathe and stay alive. An uncontrollable clinging to life surfaces all of a sudden. I don't want to get separated from my loved ones. I'm afraid of dying. One has already stopped feeling any physical pain or suffering at this point, but one must still go through this terrible fear of dying. I experienced it and did not like it, but death proceeded against my will. I was seeing bluish-green throughout this process. Then the moment I noticed my breathing becoming fast, I exhaled a long breath and everything was over. This is how I died. After one has died, one's soul remains at the heart for a little while to go through the liquidation of this life. As the liquidation begins, a pure white light comes down from above. This light has somewhat of a sweet taste. The sweetness of the light cannot be felt while one is alive, but after one has died, one can feel it. This light is the symbol of the semen of one's father. Following this, red-black energy goes upward from the navel. It is carrying one's various worldly desires with it, and it symbolizes the menstrual blood of one's mother. The white light and the red-black energy are both absorbed into the Anahata chakra in the chest. I consider this the process of karma related to the genes, which one has inherited from one's parents, to be separated into fundamental elements. If we consider the moment a sperm unites with an ovum, egg, to be the time of one's birth, the time of one's death is the moment when one has finished returning that which one inherited by separating it into its fundamental elements. There is yet one more thing to be returned: the karma that one had at birth. That is, the karma one made in one's past lives. One lives this life according to the karma of one's past lives, which has to be returned to its fundamental elements at the time of true death. This is the last procedure one has to undergo. From he realm of gods, a path made of jet-black light descends. It is the symbol of the human realm, one of the low realms of the phenomenal world. Thus, when the karma one has inherited from one's parents and the karma of one's pale life have been separated into their fundamental elements, one severs his connection with this world completely. The soul separates itself from the body and begins the preparation for its next rebirth according to the karma which it has accumulated in this world. The soul flies into a clear and bright world after death. The soul of a qualified practitioner can enter nirvana at this point. The qualification is that he must have virtually perfected his practice before death. If one is perfectly enlightened, one goes through a different process. Let me briefly explain it. An enlightened person can control his death at will. He can choose the time of his death. He can leave his body as he wishes when he has accomplished his role in this lifetime. He does not have to go through the process of death which I described earlier, for his karma has been extinguished through his practice, which makes it easy for the soul to leave the body. The process is completed by a simple transference of his consciousness from the physical body to that of death. This is an application of the yoga of transferring consciousness, Fa Hua, which I will discuss later. Thus the soul of an enlightened person can fly directly into the bright world after death. From there it can enter nirvana, or if he wishes, it can gain rebirth in the human realm or into other realms. The soul is free after death. Then what happens to ordinary people who have not practiced during their lifetimes when they enter the world after death? At first, they will see a dazzlingly clear light shine onto them. The light is horrifyingly beautiful and so intense that it makes most souls too frightened to move. If they could jump into this light, they would be able to go into the dimension called the realm of non-form, which is the next wonderful dimension below nirvana. Only those souls who have purified their minds and have had perfectly cultivated religious minds during this lifetime can enter this dimension. This world is made only of light and is highly spiritual. Life in this world is said to last for several 100 billion years. In Buddhism, it is called the realm of Dharma. I often visit this world and learn Buddhist theories from Sariputta, one of the best disciples of Buddha Sakyamuni. This light continues for half a day to one whole day. Then for the souls who have not been able to jump into this first light, another light will shine down. This light is the white silver light, which is almost transparent. If a soul can jump into this light, it can be reincarnated in the realm of form, which is also called the realm of reward in Buddhism. It is made of exquisite substances, and the beings in this realm live on the light. Their clothes are also made of light. Of course, for ordinary beings, this light is also too bright to enter. Only the beings who have earned great merit can enter this realm. By and by, the white silver light will disappear and a beautiful red-purple light will shine onto the soul. Though this color is similar to that of the energy rising from the Muladhara chakra, which symbolizes one's sexual power, it is different and very beautiful. The beings or souls who can enter this light are those who have great love and compassion for all sentient beings. This realm is inhabited by incarnation bodies and is one of the higher subdivisions of the realm of gods. It is called the corresponding realm in Buddhism. The Tushita, the fourth of the six heavens in the realm of desire, is in the center of this realm and is known as the place where Maitreya lives. Buddha Sakyamuni came down to the human realm from this heaven. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the leader of Tibetan Buddhism, also descended from here. To tell you the truth, it is where I came from, too. Incidentally, if one is reincarnated in this heaven, one can become a heavenly dragon or a heavenly maiden who encourages practitioners. When I was practicing in the Himalayas before attaining enlightenment, every time I was about to give up, Lady Parvati appeared to encourage me. She lived in the corresponding realm and came down to me on a red-purple beam. She was a gentle and kind goddess. Ordinary people would not be able to enter the corresponding realm, either. They have to wait for the next light to shine down. What appears before them gradually changes from lights to concrete visions, and each soul jumps into the realm for which he is most fit. The last realm appears on the 49th, the day after death. When jumping into this world, a being falls as if he was absorbed. In most cases, one sees a vision of sexual intercourse and jumps into it unconsciously, to find oneself nestled in a womb or an egg. Thus one gains rebirth in a new realm, at the latest in 49 days after death. In connection to rebirth, there is one thing I'd like you to be aware of. Even though one was a human being before death, it does not necessarily mean that one's next incarnation will be in the human realm. The level of the realms gradually deteriorates from the first day on, and the human realm appears around the 43rd day, being one of the lower realms in the realm of desire. Around the 45th day, the animal realm appears, and on the last day, the 49th day, hell appears. We often say that a soul goes to hell, but in reality, a soul does not go directly to hell, it is reincarnated in hell. I have experienced reincarnation in all realms through Bardo Yoga. Since there are numerous experiences, I cannot explain them all at this time. Instead, I will mention only those which have not been revealed in other literature. I will leave out what you can find in other books. For those of you who are interested, I recommend that you read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I cannot think of anything else, for most books on the subject are full of false information about life after death. Frankly speaking, there are too many religious organizations that preach, you only need faith to be happy after death. It is, in fact, not that easy. But it is nothing more than the negative karma that leads you to believe in such teachings. The Bardo Yoga brings us the following Jesuits. 1. We can confirm the existence of the world after death. 2. We learn the secret of rebirth. 3. We understand the need for spiritual practice and accumulating merit. 4. We learn everything, except accumulating merit and spiritual practice is meaningless. Realizing these things, we come to feel everything in this world is illusory. As a result, we detach ourselves from clinging or attachments, which is an important preparation for enlightenment. The Dream Yoga, you are the creator of the world. After Bardo Yoga, I entered the stage called Dream Yoga. The first thing you do with this yoga is to concentrate your mind on the Anahata chakra and to keep visualizing. As you continue this, you become able to create another world and play in it. Everyone is a hero in this world of creation. You can see and hear, smell, taste, and touch as you ordinarily do in this world in which you live now. You can even think. Don't you think that it is wonderful to be able to do whatever you wish to do by creating a world of your own? This experience is different from an ordinary dream. It is also different from what we call indirect experience, such as TV programs or books. The experience you have in this world of the image is as real as the one you have in this world. As in the real world, you can have real experiences in the world you create with your images. If this is so, the world we believe as real may also be created by our imagination. The practitioner who has reached the stage at which he or she can go into the imaginary world eventually realizes this unmistakable fact. It might be difficult for people who have not experienced it, but one can let oneself exist in the imaginary world and the astral world, just as one does in this world. One can go freely in and out of all these worlds. Furthermore, when one's practice is advanced, one can control everything at will in these worlds of images while staying in this world. In other words, there is no gap between this world and other worlds. This world is an illusion just as the other worlds are illusions. This is what one realizes through the practice of Dream Yoga. Then is there any world that is not illusory? Yes, there is only one, Nirvana. The yoga of illusory body transcending time and space. When I had completed Dream Yoga, I began to practice a mudra called Viparita Karani to develop my Vishuddha chakra. I practiced it for 3 hours a day for 5 months. When about 4 months passed, some changes began to appear. One is supposed to do a posture called Savasana for a certain length of time after this mudra, and while meditating in this posture, I began to hear a sound like a hum of bees after a couple of hours. Soon my surroundings changed completely and I found myself moving beyond time and space to another place. Sometimes I went to the house where I grew up. I moved from downstairs to upstairs inside my house. I also flew to Lord Shiva's palace. This phenomenon is called teleportation. It was not an illusion or a product of my imagination. Soon there appeared somebody who saw me while I was teleported. One day, Muzar said she saw me at a bus stop. She called out to say hello, but I did not answer her. I did not seem to notice her at all even though she was right in front of me. I started to walk and she tried to follow me, but I walked so fast that she soon lost sight of me. When this happened, I had fallen unconscious by overdoing Viparita Karani. I was, so to speak, in a deep meditative state, a kind of samadhi. It seems that I had unconsciously teleported myself during the meditation. In those days, everyone would say as soon as they saw me, "Your face looks different today," or "You are tall today." My physical appearance would change momentarily. Through these experiences, I began to think that time, space, and even I was nothing but illusions. I named this practice, the Yoga of Illusory Body, the Light Yoga. Before long, one reaches the level called Light Yoga, which is the last yoga on the stage of Samadhi. Through this yoga, one realizes the meaning of the lights which compose this world and the worlds in other dimensions. This concept is rather difficult to grasp, so examples should be helpful. Let me explain it step by step as it had happened to me. I was practicing in the Himalayas when all of these things happened. I concentrated my mind on the Ajna chakra at my forehead and saw the divine element of the universe. The divine element of the universe is a transmission from the heart of the universe, which is also called the Akashic records. It was a gigantic ball of light, into which I had melted. To be exact, it felt as if I had melted, for I discovered after my practice had advanced further that I was connected to the ball of light with two streams of red-purple light. One emanated from the Brahmarandra, the crown of the head, and the other emanated from the heart. The ball was so huge that it was difficult to gauge its shape at one look. The following description is the result of my having melted into the ball many times after that. Its center is transparent. The colors change, mixing from blue to violet or purple, as they go further away from the center until they become red on the periphery. There are countless minute dots in motion in the clear part in the center. The nearer to the center the dots are, the whiter they are. The further they are, the blacker they are. Each of these dots is a piece of information. The white dots in the center are information on a universal level, while the dots further away from the center carry more individualized information. I draw my information from the Akashic records whenever someone asks me to make a prediction. After a few days had passed from the time I first experienced the lights of the divine element of the universe, my practice advanced a step further. I was able to constantly stay in the light without concentrating on my Ajna chakra. The disintegration of the Ajna chakra was a necessary step for that. When it happened, I was taking the Savasana posture. When I woke up, I found that I had twisted my body from the cold. I remembered what a yogi had told me some time ago and said to myself, "This is the condition in which one's head is hot and one's feet are cold." As I straightened my body, the Kundalini ascended with great force and stopped at the Ajna chakra. After I concentrated on the Ajna chakra, I found that I was playing a drama in my astral body for a while. When it was over, 4 midgets began to make a fuss around me. My consciousness in my astral body thought, "Don't be so noisy. I cannot concentrate. I am here," thought another consciousness that usually arose during my meditation without leaving my physical body. In other words, I had 2 consciousnesses simultaneously at that moment. Incidentally, human beings have 4 consciousnesses. In addition to the 2 consciousnesses which I was using, there is a consciousness that we use in our daily activities and another consciousness that we use while we are in a deep sleep. Then the next moment, my Ajna chakra was put under tremendous pressure. It was so strong that I was afraid that it might hurt my eyes and even damage my brain. But at the same time, another thought arose. I have been waiting for my forehead to be bored for hundreds of years. I am going to bear it. I kept on concentrating. Then my Ajna chakra exploded with a big bang. My yoga of light is completed at this moment. Now, I was always in the light. My Ajna chakra shone brightly like a fire. On one occasion I saw the space element during my meditation. It was made of blue light and was round with a slit in one place. Rotating counterclockwise, it wound its way toward my Ajna chakra. When it was closer, I saw that it had been tugging something along on its right. It was then absorbed into my Ajna chakra. At that moment I knew that what the space element was tugging along was the inner vision in my heart. This inner vision in the heart is the source of life, called the causal body, which is situated in the heart. The causal body consists of 6 orbs of light. They are the true self, chitta, mind stuff, ego, subtle vital energy, subtle nature, and Brahman, the absolute. The true self is transparent diamond-like light that looks as if it is reflected on the surface of the lake. Chitta is light blue, ego, bluish-green, subtle vital energy, rose-pink, subtle nature, orange, and the orb of Brahman is white. Here the description of the causal body is limited only to its colors because I want to mention it only briefly. I will explain it in detail some other time. One day I noticed that one's feelings could also be expressed by lights. Through my clairvoyant power, I saw the orb of will and the orb of image in the Brahmarandra, situated at the crown of the head, change their colors by one's feelings. For example, when one is sexually aroused, the orb becomes dark red and makes a wavy motion. Ultimately, you realize that light is the highest of all the elements composing the universe. The entire universe is composed of light, the vibration of sound, and gross substance. I shall end my explanation of the 5 yogas, which should be practiced in the stage of Samadhi. All of these yogas are important steps toward the goal of enlightenment. What one uses at one's last moment is the yoga of transferring consciousness, which I will deal with in the section on enlightenment. My apologies. There is not enough space to explain all about the 4 yogas, the Bardo yoga, the dream yoga, the yoga of illusory body, and the yoga of light, in the video. Their profound meaning cannot be covered in few pages. This is not a commercial project. For as many people as possible to come across this information, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment of 8 words or more.